Hello and welcome to this Flexbox tutorial where you can see that we're going to be building a media grid. So this is what we're building. You can see that it's going to be responsive as it scales down. It's going to break at different points. So let's head over to the code and start building this. Okay, so this is the boilerplate for this project. You can see that we've got a heading. We're going to have a container with a fixed size container, and then the Flexbox parent here, the row, and then the Flexbox child element, items, and then inside items, I'm just going to have a div so that you can see the components inside of each item. So we just start off with a little bit of groundwork. I've added the body margin and the heading align center. So what we've got at the moment is this. So I now configure the container. So this is just going to be a fixed size container, max width 1435. So that's the maximum size it's going to be. You can change this to whatever you like, of course, depending on your project. It's going to be center in the screen. And I've just added background color so that we can see all the different elements in place as we're building the project. So this stage, we've now got a container. Now to apply flex to the row. So we're using flex, so display flex. And then we're using flex flow, so we're going to have it defined as a row. So all our items are going to be in a row across the page, and we want them to wrap. So we've applied that. We've justified the contents to the left of the start, and then I've just again add a background so that we can see what's going on. So after that, it looks, well, just like that. Okay, so onto the flex child elements. So we've defined the height as 350. That's just preference. And we've got a flex basis here of 20%. So here, how you can look at this is that each element is going to take up 20% of the row. If you look at it that way. So in our row, there's going to be 5 elements. You're going to see 5 child elements across the page in this instance. And we define a width of 259 and a padding. And we want that to be taken both into consideration when we're trying to size the box. So we want the box sizing to include the border and the width, the padding and the width, in order to make the calculation for the width of each element, each item. So we include a box sizing border box, and then again I've just included a background color. So let's take a look. So at the moment, we've only got one item, and you can see that that's working perfectly. So if I just go ahead now and select the items, I'm just going to add a few more items. I've added 9 items. So let's have a look to see if that's okay. And there we go. We've got 9 items on the page. So I've tidied up my items. You can see that I've also included a div in each item, which I've just styled. So I've gone ahead and styled this. So height 100%, and then the background color again. So what you should see now is a item inside of each content. And then now you can kind of see how the grid is coming to shape. So the next thing we need to do now is think about the responsive design. Actually, if I just show you again what I meant by this. So if I define this as 33%, then it's likely then to move. Then to 3 items. Obviously, it wouldn't be perfectly lined up with 33%, but you can see how that's now configured. So if I change that to 50, apologies, it's obviously obvious that it's going to go to half. So that's how you could potentially change the items that are inside of the grid in terms of how many items you want to be displayed across. But now we need to consider the responsiveness of this, because all that's happening at the moment is just scaling down and down. Nothing's happening. So we need to create some breakpoints whereby these scale down. Now I've kind of already shown you the fact that how we can control how many are in this grid here. So as we move down, there's only really one thing that we need to configure, and that's how many items that are showing across the row. So let's go in the code and add some changes. So I've gone ahead and I've just basically changed the flex spaces as I was explaining earlier. You can see that we're using a NatMedia breakpoint here, so max width 1300. So this is given preference on where you want your items to break. And as you can see, as this scales down, we can stay at 33%. But when the screen resolution width gets to 900 pixels, we're going to move down into the 50%. And then when it gets low enough into mobile view, we're going to go to flex spaces 100%. So let's just see that in action. So you can see that we're going to start by utilizing, or actually, because of my screen resolution, we can't see that. So you can see that we're going to start by utilizing 33.3, and then eventually we're going to get down to, sorry, we can start off with 20%, and then we go down to 33, and then we move into 50, and then the further we go down, eventually it will go into 100. So if I zoom out, there we go, it goes down into the 100. So there we go. We have a responsive Flexbox media grid.